Welcome back to the West Ham fans Premier League countdown series, the Premier League review series where I review all 20 teams up until the Premier League starts, including my own team, unfortunately. But today we are reviewing Newcastle, or previewing Newcastle. And Newcastle, obviously, the next team to close in on that typical Big Six metric, with Eddie Howe being the guy to take them forward. A man who's very underrated as a manager, still to this day, in my opinion. Eddie Howe is a guy who was an all-out attack manager at Bournemouth, and he was often criticised for maybe weak defending and weak defensive attributes in his play, in his tactics. Very fragile, very naive, as people would say, but it was exciting to watch if you was a Bournemouth fan. Bournemouth ended up getting relegated. Eddie Howe left. Didn't manage for a while, but in 2021, he got to manage Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, this is around the COVID time where everyone was still getting COVID, so a lot of matches got called off, and they didn't really get to settle in. But Newcastle ended up playing, and they were in a relegation battle, and playing Joel into the midfield. We will refer back to that, but buying Premier League experience at the time, Chris Wood, Matt Targett, Dan Burn, Kieran Trippier, a great midfielder that is Bruno Guimaraes. I can't remember who else they signed in that window, but it got them out of the relegation battle because that's what they needed at the time. They then have signed Isak, Tonali, Botman, the crucial players, very good players, and he's now gone to a footballing style where obviously he was in Diego Simeone's training, learning how he defends, and he's got the balance now of excited attackers, pacey attackers, but being solid defensively. That's why a lot of the football sometimes wasn't as appealing on the eye, and they had to grind out for draws at times because of how great someone like Nick Pope was, and how great their defence was at the time. The solid back four of Burn, Botman, Shaw and Trippier. Now, the obvious weakness in there is Dan Burn. They also do need some depth in centre-back because they're one centre-back away from Jamal Lascelles playing, and they're playing in the Champions League. So you'd probably wish that, if you're a Newcastle fan, you probably want an extra two defenders. If I was Newcastle, I'd be trying to bid for Kieran Tierney, because I think he would just suit them perfectly. Alan Saint-Maximin is gone, and they replaced him with Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes is someone that I was begging to join right on this channel in, obviously, the team I support, West Ham. We obviously missed out because we're a stupid, retarded club. But Newcastle are not a retarded club. They're a very ambitious club and get a lot of stick for their ownership because of, well, they're Saudis. I have no opinion on ownerships, on what they are like outside of being a football owner. I am a football fan, so I would happily welcome a Saudi at West Ham any day of the week because it would mean that I have an ambitious owner. What they do outside of the football is none of my business. I know you could argue the same for footballing players, but football gets too political sometimes. And you're not meant to see the face of the owners all the time. The owners is meant to be the guy pulling the strings around the club. And that's what owners are. And in my opinion, that's how owners should be. Owners are just pulling strings around the club. They're just facilitating. And Newcastle have a balance of Premier League experience. They have a balance of good European players. I do think Tonali's a great signing. I will say, Newcastle fans, if you are watching this, you're going to get a lot of shit from the Italian media. Italian media trying to pressure Tonali to come back to Italy because that's what we've got with Scamacca. The only difference, I think, is that you guys have a better structure around you and you guys are going places. I don't think Newcastle will get into the Champions League again. Not this season. They might get fifth because it's top five this year because the Premier League, England are the top coefficient because of the amount of teams that have been in the Champions League finals and European finals, etc. So I think the top is England and Spain for top 5 and everyone else is top 4 or top 3, top 2, whatever. But I still think they need a left back. Anthony Gordon, can he step up to the plate? Can Isak and Wilson, good competition up front. I would also argue that they've got some decent midfielders now. So Gimaresh and Tonali being the obvious. You've got Joe Willock, who I thought was amazing last season. That man went to a whole new level. That man was just a guy who arrived late in the box under Steve Bruce, but he's added way more to his game, getting into all kinds of spaces and controlling midfields and like running with the ball, driving with the ball with pace and good close dribbling. And Joe Willock played really, really well. They've also got someone solid like Joe Linton, who in bigger games might play off the left. Him and Willock will swap around, and they've got a good relationship on the pitch. Also to cover Dan Burn as well, who's stiff, good defender, but he's stiff. You don't want to be coming up against Bayern Munich and having Leroy Sané coming up against Dan Burn. Maybe throw in Matt Targett sometimes. Matt Targett, I don't rate him, but Eddie Howe can get the best out of players. That's the key thing as well. Eddie Howe is very good at getting the best out of players. He made a League One side, a lot of League One players get into the Premier League. He made Adam Smith look like a Premier League right back. Obviously, some players were already good, like Callum Wilson's a very solid striker, as I would know, because he always scores against us. Him and Isak were great options to have, and they're so different to one another. Someone like Kieran Trippier has got the leadership, and Fabian Schär has always been a good defender, but has always partnered with shit people, with shit players. But he's just a very good footballer in general. So him and Sven Botman, I wasn't surprised that they ended up becoming a good partnership. But I think Fabian Schär might be injured now, but they still need depth. I think they're still going through FFP, because obviously under the previous ownership it was very different under Mike Ashley. I had a lot of sympathy for them when they were under Mike Ashley, and I was very happy for them for when they got their takeover. Yeah, that's it for me from Newcastle. About Newcastle, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me, and the email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.